Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video from Mike, the HVAC Reefer Guy. Today we're going to be concentrating on the product and not on me, so you won't be seeing much of me, but my beautiful hands. Today we're going to be talking about HotBlock from Solderweld. HotBlock is a heat absorbing putty. It's 100% reusable for life. It stops heat transfer up to 3,000 degrees. It's completely non-toxic, and it protects all surfaces, joints, valves, pipes, and fittings. Now, the great thing about HotBlock, and you can kind of see it up here, they're one of my sponsors, most of my podcasts are brought to you by the guys at Solderweld, but I haven't done a video about Solderweld, and I haven't really seen videos where it's up close and really in your face, and that's what we're gonna do today. So we're gonna do a video that's up close, it's in your face, it's live, it's unedited, you guys know me already. And we're gonna also be using Solderweld's 15% round rod. This is a round rod solder. You can see it, it's not a flat rod, but it's a round rod solder. We're going to be using a number 5 tip from the guys at ASCO. You guys know that I love this setup from the folks at ASCO, and I'll be putting all the links in the details, the description section of this video, but this is a number 5 tip. We're going to be using a Fluke sensitivity range. It is an infrared laser thermometer. This is what we're going to be using today from Fluke. Again, this is a Fluke NCVT-41R voltage tester and laser thermometer. So we'll be taking some temp readings here today, and you can see what's going on, and we'll give you some temperature readings in here. So it's definitely got some cool stuff going on. What else we got going on? Make sure that we're working, we're cruising, everything is good. Yeah, we're working, and pipe is 88 degrees. So anyways, what I've done here with the video, actually with the HotBlock, is I've already gone ahead and mixed it. Now HotBlock comes fairly dry, and I've got ahead and I've mixed this with water to get the consistency that I want. And so it'll stay to the valve. And what we're gonna do is, we're going to be brazing this piece of pipe, this little piece of pipe right here, onto this fitting right here. We're going to take some temperature readings, and we're going to show you how HotBlock works. Now I've gone ahead and I put water in. Now HotBlock, this is what it looks like. It's not that pretty, just like me, not that pretty. But the consistency I wanted fairly wet. Now if you don't want the consistency to be fairly wet, you can remove water. You can take and actually squeeze the water out of it. If you want a very wet consistency, you want more of a paste, then you can go ahead and add more water to it, however you want it to go. And so right here, I'm going ahead and I'm starting to pack my expansion valve. Now, or not my expansion valve, my reversing valve. And so, you know, the consistency is huge because you want to be able to get it in between the little nooks and crannies on this valve. And that's the big thing, right, is you want to be able to protect a reversing valve. Now, how many guys that you know put in a reversing valve and you end up burning the valve, and then you're like, oh crap. Now I've got some cutaways of some valves in my office, and I'll be bringing those for later videos. But inside here, inside this valve, is actually some neoprene type seals. And if the valve gets so hot because it gets burned, or it gets burned when it's being removed. Actually, the one being removed, it doesn't matter because it's already jacked up. But the one that's going to be going in, that one you want to protect. And you want to protect that valve as much as possible. And that's where this heat absorbing putty works exceptionally well, because it absorbs that heat and it prevents it from damaging the valve. And to me, that's the most important part. Now, I'm putting a lot on here, probably more than I would normally, but I really want to show you guys how it works, and I want to make sure that it's, you know, the valve is protected, and you know, if I put it on too thin, you can't really see it. Now I'm going to be doing some stuff to the heat absorbing paste and putty here in a minute. And again, you can see all of this at www.solderweld.com. You can also see this. If you want to buy it, you can go on www.solderweld.us. You can also find it at True Tech Tools at www.truetechtools.com. And in there you want to look under Rector Seal, because it is branded through RectorSeal when you search for it, and you can get it there. So I'm pretty well ready to go. Now I tried to pre-fit the pipe, but there's some little boogers on the pipe, and so we're gonna have to actually go in and heat up this valve and heat up this little piece of pipe that I have. And again, I'm using a number 5 tip. And you guys know from the last video, I really like this flame. This is 100% pure acetylene, but through the design of this tip, it creates an oxygen acetylene flame, and you can hear how quiet it is. It's a very quiet tip for being acetylene only. Right now, I'm only using my MC tank, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna warm this guy up. Try to get it in here. So right now, that heat absorbing paste, that putty, is starting to do its job. It's really starting to protect the valve. That neoprene is protected. Let's see if we can get this guy on here. See if it's ready to go. There's some boogers on the side. We're going to heat up those little boogers so that it fits a little better. That's the bad thing about this heat absorbing putty. It actually works so well. There we go. We're starting to get that solder warmed up. There you go. Sinking in there. Are we going to make it? I think we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Yep. And it's ready to go. So we're going to go ahead now. We're going to use this 15% round rod. Let's see if this guy's ready to go, if it's going to take the solder. We're taking that solder. It's doing its job. I'm going to get in here. We're going to fill in that spot. A little bit of brazing. This is the nice thing about going live. Hey guys, how you doing? And this guy is brazed in, man. That's the bad thing about using the putty. The heat absorbing putty works so well, it takes a little bit longer. So we're all brazed in. We're all brazed in right now. And let's take the laser. We're at 92 degrees. Hopefully you can see it right there. Here up on the valve, it actually shut off. It's at 400 degrees. The solder is 100 degrees, and if you can see that, try to get that where you can see it. 93, 165, closer we get to it. Let's shoot some video of the valve. The valve is only, look, the valve is only 100.4. 100.4 on that valve body. Let's see what we come up with here. It's going to be upside down. It is 126 degrees on that valve body, 121 degrees right here at the end. We are still, we're at 327 degrees and dropping. And the reason it's dropping is this heat absorbing putty is actually absorbing the heat. Here it is, the putty is 109 degrees. The valve is at 105. The end of the valve is at 121. Of course, this is the hotter side of the valve, 118, 118.5. It's dropping, 118.2. And so it's really doing its job. Again, we're at 204, 209, 255, 251, 242. It's absorbing this heat. The valve, this putty, the valve is hot, but it's absorbing the putty. The putty is absorbing all the heat around it, and it's drawing it. Now, what I was going to tell you is about this heat absorbing putty is I'm going to show you again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to torch on it. Now, we wouldn't really do that in real life. We wouldn't do this in real life for fun. We wouldn't take our flame and actually just torch on the putty. Look, check it out. Look how well the HotBlock is doing. We're burning the HotBlock. We're burning the HotBlock. And the hot block, again, we're going to take a temperature reading on it. 158, 142, 150, 140, 134. It's really starting to absorb that heat. So we're going to go ahead and start breaking this away. It's very hot to the touch. And we're going to put it right back into the container. We're going to put it right back into the container. We're going to do just like we're doing here. I'm being really careful. You can see the water steaming off of it. We're going to put it back inside here. We're going to grab this stuff off the back of the valve. The putty is coming off just like it should. We're putting it back inside the container. Putting it back inside the container. We're going to grab some needle nose pliers. We're going to grab it here. We're going to grab it from the back side of the valve. It's cool back here. I'm grabbing the putty. I'm putting the hot block back into the container, and you can see how it dries. It peels off perfectly. It peels off fantastically well. In fact, you can see here, I'm going to go ahead for time-wise, and look how it cleans up. You know, you can put a little bit of water on here. You can clean this up. The nice part about it is it doesn't leave any residue. I'm going to go ahead and push that guy off the back. Push that guy off the back. And we're starting to get the heat absorbing paste off the fitting. Now normally there'd be water here, and I would pull the putty off the hot block, and I would do it. Now it's back inside, right? You guys saw I put it back inside here. Now we can go ahead, we can mash all this up again. You saw how burned it was, right? You saw how burned it was. And here we are, without adding any water, we're back to normal and we're ready to go. That's the great thing about Solderweld and their hot block, is it's 100% reusable. Now you saw me torch on it, and it got burned a little bit, but it did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it absorbed the heat. Now it's still absorbing heat. There's still some back there, and due to time, I can't get everything off. Normally I would be, as a technician, I would be getting this stuff off. I'd be getting it out of here. I don't think you guys want to see me break all this stuff out. Who does, right? We got stuff we want to do, but it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and it's absorbing the heat. It's pulling the heat off the valve, and the valve is protected. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit of water back here. We're going to get a little bit of water. We're going to show you guys here. Look at that. Look how it cleans up. Now there's some that's still here, and there's some that's still there, but look at, there's no residue. It's dry. That's it. That's it. And you can see here on the braze, it's not a beautiful braze, honestly. Not what I would choose to do. I would choose to get a little more, but honestly, that it did the job. It's not going to leak. It did the job. It protected the valve. Let's see where we are temperature-wise. We're at 122. Now, the minute I took this heat paste off, it warmed up, and the heat paste stopped absorbing the heat. But we're at 105 degrees. We're at 105. We're a little toasty, but we're at 105 degrees. And so this is the success of Solderweld and their hot block. And you can find them at solderweld.com. I'm going to go ahead and slide this aside, get this out of the way a little bit, get this going here. I want to get some hand wipes now. I want to get some hand wipes. The best hand wipes that I use is the Refrigeration Technologies, the Viper wipes. I love the Viper wipes. Those are my favorite hand wipes. We're going to go ahead and pull that guy out. And you know what? It makes for a great combination. The Solderweld, even though it's two different companies, the Solderweld makes an awesome hot block. I love their 15% round rod, but look how well the wipes are cleaning up. The wipes are cleaning up all the hot block, cleaning up my hands from today. I actually had a crane lift today. Sat a couple of 12.5-ton Daikin package units. But man, it's just totally cleaning up my hands. Look how clean my hands came out. And that's from Refrigeration Technologies and their Viper wipes. So all in all, the hot block performed exceptionally well. It was live. There was no editing. You can see that we did everything live. It worked perfectly. It did great. Everything it was supposed to do, 100% reusable, and clean up the little tub here so you guys can see everything. And you could find this at www.solderweld.us. And you can also find it on TrueTechTools.com. The folks at Solderweld, if you're on the TrueTech Tool website, you'll need to look under the Rector Seal product. Don't type in Solderweld, make sure you type in Rector Seal because they're the nationwide branding company for HotBlock. But if you want to buy Solderweld directly from them, you can also go on www.solderweld.us. And so here's a great install. It kind of worked out great. A little bit of extra solder right there. But all in all, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. The valve is really starting to cool now. And we're in the wrong spot. Hold on. It's cooling down now. It's at 100 degrees, 104, 198, 97, 96. It's really starting to cool down, and the valve was protected. So if you have any questions, you can get a hold of me at hvacreeferguy@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me at hvacreeferguy@gmail.com. If you have any comments, leave the comments. I answer every single one. And if you have any questions about the HotBlock or the Viper wipes or the 15% round rod or the ASCO brazing tips that I'm using or this little guy right here, this little Fluke meter, get a hold of me. I'll answer every single question that you have. And as always, work safe, be good humans, and until next time, and make sure, we all walk on the same, well, that was my sign. The ASCO sign said, I'm out of here. So the ASCO sign says, see ya, but we'll work on that. We'll get it back up on the wall today, and we'll get that taken care of. And as always, be good humans, and we'll see you next time.